Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics. Today we have on an amazing guest, Dani Williamson. As we mentioned in the beginning, she is a functional medicine nurse practitioner and the author of Wild and Well, Dani's 6 Common Sense Steps to Radical Healing. Welcome to the show, Dani.
Thank you so much, ladies. I'm excited. This will be fun.
Well, we love talking about women's health. We love talking about anything midlife. So this is just right on topic. And one of the things that I think we should start with is just talking about the state of women's healthcare right now and how a lot of when we go to doctors, it's reactive as opposed to being proactive. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, you bet it's reactive. As a young woman, I spent 24 years seeing doctors as a woman from age 24 to 44, 20 to 44, very reactive. 4 colonoscopies before I was 44, endoscopies, diagnosed with depression, heartburn, irritable bowel syndrome, lupus, and fibromyalgia, all not proactive at all. In fact, I had a rheumatologist look me square in the eye when I was 35 years old. She said, Danielle, there is no cure for lupus. It kills women every year. Here's your pain medicine. Here's your anti-inflammatory. Yeah, I talk about it all in the book, And so I was treated, I like everyone else, we treated symptoms, right? Symptom after symptom, never getting to the root cause. Because here's the thing, ladies, whether you are 34 years old or you're 57 like me, we were not born sick, most likely. Some people are born sick. Most of us, though, turn on our chronic lifestyle diseases. Those are diseases turned on by your lifestyle, diseases turned off by your lifestyle. And I was 44 years old before I ever knew that I could reverse lupus and irritable bowel syndrome and, chronic itching and depression. So I'm living proof that whatever we've turned on, we can turn off.
And your book, there's so many factors that are involved with what's going on in our body. And you also talk about childhood trauma. You were talking about the ACE, I'm looking at it again on my notes. Yes, the ACE scores. And the book, listeners, the book out there has such great questions just to ask yourself as you're going down your ACE score. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Woo! Okay, well, that's a whole podcast. But the ACE questionnaire, and we won't get into the history of it because it takes a long time, but it's 10 questions that were developed with the CDC and Kaiser Permanente, an insurance company, looking at childhood trauma. What happened to you emotionally, physically, verbally, sexually, and then of course, there's 10 questions before the age of 18, right? Did someone go to prison? Were you molested? Yes, I was. Were you beat up? Yes, I was. I mean, this is me. Did someone get divorced? Were you hungry? Was your mother beaten in front of you? Did someone go to prison? It is fascinating. And I spent the first 10 years of my practice, because I went back to school old, so I didn't get out until I was 44 as a nurse practitioner. I missed a lot of this the first probably 8 to 9 years with my patients, because what happens to you before the age of 18 can set you up for a lifetime of chronic disease. And that's what happened to me. I grew up in complete chaos, molested, like I said, beat up by another stepfather. I mean, a mother with mental illness. And so it turned on that IBS and that anxiety and the chronic itching and all. So childhood trauma, what we've discovered, probably 60% of the population or more have at least 2 adverse childhood experiences. And I tend to get the patients who've got 6, 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10. And those are the ones that we're dealing with chronic disease, autoimmune disease, depression. Your score is 4 or higher, 4 or more adverse childhood experiences. You've got a 20-year shortened lifespan. That's what the research shows. My score is a 6.
So if you do take this test, or you do have a chronic condition,
Yes.
What's the first thing you tell patients? I know a lot of us immediately go, it's inflammation. That's what we hear.
Yep.
That's the buzzword. It's inflammation.
That's right.
But what do you do when a patient comes in and says, I have IBS, I have lupus, or I have some kind of chronic condition?
Yeah. Yeah. The very first thing I do, it is inflammation, right? Because for sure, anything that ends in itis has an inflammatory component, but we know that all chronic disease has an inflammatory undertone. We don't know yet what it is or what causes it. The majority of the time, it's the diet, and which is how I start. I start my patients with an anti-inflammatory elimination diet. What are the top 7 foods that create the most inflammation with people? The most: gluten, dairy, soy, corn, sugar, eggs, and peanuts. Eggs? What do you mean, Danny? I eat eggs every day. Yeah. Eggs were the number 1 for me on my food sensitivity 13 years ago. My body hates eggs, hates eggs. So we start with an elimination, bringing down the inflammatory response in the body. We start with diet, but also we have to get into, my steps, right? Which are eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well, de-stress well, and commune well. It's all connected. But we start with an elimination and removing foods that we know create chronic inflammation in people. If you have heartburn, if you have IBS, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, joint pain, migraine headaches, right? Anxiety, depression, then that's a gut issue. I know that until proven otherwise. That's a gut problem. 80% of all serotonin in the human body is in the small intestine. It's not in the brain. So when the gut's on fire, the brain's on fire. It's a direct correlation here. And there's your depression and ADD and ADHD and all those things. So we start with an elimination. That's what we do. That's the first thing we do, is start eliminating foods and maybe get them on a good probiotic. I mean, everyone's different, right? All 3 of us here would have something different that I would be working with. But the bottom line is we start controlling what's at the end of their fork, because we tend to eat the same 12 foods our entire life. And we feed our children the same 5 or 6 meals their entire life. We're designed for diversity. Like all these dots on my shirt right here, right? All these circles. That's how we're supposed to be eating, right? All of these fruits and vegetables. God made hundreds of fruits and vegetables. If you believe in God, I happen to, but if you don't, somehow we have all these fruits and vegetables and we don't eat them. We don't eat them. So we start with getting diversity back in the gut and removing whatever it is that's causing the inflammation. Now, also could be that you're not sleeping well. I think sleep and diet go hand in hand. And I don't know if we're ready to get into sleep, but
it's something that really affects midlife women. I mean, that it happens, during that time. It happens all the time. It's stages of life. Stress, you have a new baby, and then midlife, it's like, hello, 3 o'clock, here I am, wide awake.
That's exactly right. And so I slept all night long, even with babies. My kids slept great, fantastic. I mean, that's great for me because I need sleep. But until I went through menopause, I slept beautifully. And then once I went through menopause, I don't sleep poorly, but I wake up 2 and 3 times a night. I go right back to sleep. I mean, I take a lot of magnesium, lots of things, that help me sleep, progesterone and things like that. But your body heals when you sleep. If you don't sleep well, you will never eat well. And you for sure are not going to exercise well, right? Move well. Your body heals when you sleep. That bedroom has got to be a sanctuary, and it has to change, because when we were younger, we could just walk in there and fall over and go sound asleep in the middle of a nasty bedroom that's got mess everywhere, and clothes piled and computers and TVs and all of that. The bed is for sleep and sex only. And if you're not doing one or the other in it, you've got to get out of it. And you've got to make it conducive to sleep. This right here destroys our circadian rhythm at night. These kids too sleep with their phones right here under their pillow or, right by their head. And a lot of midlife women do as well, because what do they do when they wake up at 3 a.m?
Yeah, scroll away. Yeah.
right? So we got to get this,
Yeah.
got to get this phone out of the bedroom and the TVs out of the bedroom. And we've got to, you can read in your bed, but your sleep is so important. And if you're eating an inflammatory diet and you've got this gut and just 20 kinds of heck going on fire over here, you're not going to be able to sleep and rest and digest at night. Literally, your entire body detoxes, and your brain for sure, when you get deep, deep restorative sleep. And it's key. And there's lots of different ways. I talk all about it in here. There's lots of things to help you sleep, magnesium or supplements, but more so than anything, lifestyle and no alcohol. Alcohol at night. If we're going to start drinking, well, we might as well do it now. It's about 11 o'clock. I mean, you're going to day drink a little. You all know I'm just joking, but not really. Seriously. If you're going to have a drink, then have it in the early afternoon. Don't do it at night, because alcohol does not help you sleep. It's going to raise your blood sugar up and it drops it back down. You're going to wake up between 2 and 4 in the morning every single time. Every time. And if you already have trouble sleeping, it's just going to make it just like this. And then that's going to cause weight gain, that weight gain around the middle. When you can't sleep at night, that estrogen is out of balance, your progesterone's out of balance. I mean, it's all connected, but alcohol is key for not drinking it at night within at least 4 hours of bedtime, and then getting enough protein. We don't get enough protein. Most women don't. And if you wake up between 2 and 4, that's generally blood sugar dropping in the night. My patients will just eat a handful of nuts or a little bit of nut butter or some sort of protein right before they go to bed. Most of the time their sleep starts to stabilize.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I noticed you also mentioned, and something that never occurred to me until I read your book, all the electronics that you have in your room. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that can affect you?
Yeah. It affects your circadian rhythm, and those electromagnetic fields are very disruptive to your sleep, also your heart rhythm. I mean, everything. So distance is your friend when it comes to electromagnetic fields. We can't get away from it right now, right? You got microphones, we've got computers, we've got ring lights on us. I mean, we're being bombarded with it all day long. Electromagnetic fields, 5G, computers, TVs, but your bedroom has got to be free of that. And one of the things that upsets people more than anything is they're sleeping on a $5,000 electric bed. And that bed, I guarantee you, is not helping you sleep. I mean, you are sleeping, literally, you might as well be sleeping on 45 computers, because it's all electric. You're sleeping on electromagnetic fields. So my friend who's an electrical engineer, she says, the best way to deal with this one is to set it where you need it. And I don't know, I don't have one, so I don't know. Set it and then unplug it. So get the electrical current out of your bed. So you're still going to have electricity because it's all energy, through there, but it's going to be less. Put this phone in the bathroom, or at least on airplane mode, because your alarm's going to go off, and you can set it to where, like, my kids can get in touch with me, even if it's on airplane mode. That's in your settings there. And this phone, actually, you all may not know this, it tells you in the settings, I don't know about an Android, but an iPhone does, exactly how far it has to be off of your body to prevent cancer.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Did not
Did-
know
I'm like,
that.
Did you know that?
I did
Did
not
not know that. That's so
Wow.
interesting.
You go to your settings,
I'm sitting here
You go to
looking
your
at mine
settings,
now.
you hit general.
Uh-huh.
So for all of you listening, do this. If
Do
you're watching
this.
on your phone, don't do it. But go to
If
general,
you're driving.
scroll all the way to the bottom. Do you see
Uh-huh.
where it says legal and regulatory?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Buried in the bowels. Click it.
Uh-huh.
Then you'll see where it says RF exposure, radio frequency exposure. First paragraph, it tells you my phone needs to be 5 millimeters off your body. It cannot be touching your body ever. You're going to
Wow.
increase your risk of brain cancer, testicular cancer for the boys who have testicles, right? Ovarian cancer for girls who put their phone in their pockets. breast cancer. We see breast cancers the size of these lithium batteries when people put their phones here. They're covered when you get a cancer caused by electromagnetic fields. Isn't that fascinating?
Wow. That is fascinating.
Oh gosh.
So fascinating.
Distance is your friend when it comes to electromagnetic fields. So unplug your bed, make your bedroom a sanctuary. Literally, when you cross that threshold into your bedroom, it's clean, it's free. Your wireless router's not in there, your TV's not in there. If you've got a partner in the bed with you, you need to be talking to your partner. You need to be talking to him, not fubbing him. That's the literal word for this, is fubbing. You're just like this on your phone. You're fubbing him instead of snubbing him or effing him.
I know,
right. Which will help you sleep, by the way. An orgasm. Nobody ever complained about an orgasm, right? So
no,
we
never
can
heard
talk
about
that all day long with midlife women and not wanting not having a sex drive and all. So, but anyway.
Wow.
Good to know, Bridget. Get that phone out of the bedroom.
Well, thank goodness though, with that, I never liked the idea of this when I'm on the phone. Headphones, voice thing. I mean, that's
texting.
My preferable way is if I'm got to be on the phone, I like to put it on speaker. And
you bet, always. And I'm going to tell you, I know this is not what we're really talking about, but driving down the road, this is never here. Always use the Bluetooth. Of course, that's also bombarding you, right? But when you're driving down a metal tube down the highway, this phone is looking for a signal. So it is putting out more electromagnetic fields as you're moving because it's searching for a signal. The same thing on electromagnetic fields. Your heated car seats, they're putting nothing but electricity through your bum. So just know that. Turn it on, heat it up, turn it off.
Wow. All right, take notes, people.
Yes.
We kind of went around our butt there.
I know.
That's all right. We were talking sleep, which is the second step, and that's important.
All connected, right? You got to eat well, you got to sleep well, and I've got tons and tons of tips in there in that chapter. And you've got to move well, because if you don't sleep well, you'll never eat well, and you certainly won't move well. And if you're not moving well, you're not going to sleep well. The research is clear. The people who exercise, they sleep better and they eat better. They take better care of themselves. I mean, we're not perfect. There was only one perfect human out there, and it's certainly not me or Colleen or Bridget over here. But you got to move your body. So if Colleen and Bridget are exercise buddies, they're not going to let each other down. You got to find a buddy, right? You're not going to be standing on the corner, at the corner of the block, or at the block by yourself. You're not going to leave them waiting. So find a buddy. I don't care if you rollerblade. The older we get as midlife women, do you know what the number one exercise is to ward off Alzheimer's and dementia?
Would that be ballroom dancing?
Ballroom dancing. Girl, you got it.
I read
it. Ballroom dancing. And I was just over by the Nashville Art National Dance Company this morning. I thought, man, I need to go in there and just sign up for a free class, because my mom has Alzheimer's. And I'm telling you, no one is born with Alzheimer's disease. If you don't think that's a disease of prevention, you are sadly mistaken. All disease is a disease of prevention, but Alzheimer's for sure, right? My mom was not born with it, and now she's 78 years old and full-blown Alzheimer's, just full-blown. Horrible. So exercise is key. You've got to move your body. Whatever is going to give you joy. Dani, I don't like to exercise. Well, that's tough. So too bad. And women who exercise in the morning, their metabolism is sped up about 13 hours if you're really moving it and exercise in the morning. So make a commitment, just like Jack LaLanne did. I talk about that in here. Jack LaLanne hated to exercise. So people that are listening to this who are our age, they know who Jack LaLanne is, had the longest running show ever for exercise. He hated to exercise. Little known fact about him. But he made a commitment in his young years. He was not going to eat breakfast until he exercised. And he loved to eat more than he loved to exercise. So he exercised every morning. And his wife, who is still alive in her 90s, same thing to this day, exercises before she eats breakfast.
Wow. Well, we ballroom danced on your 50th birthday.
Yes, my 50th, which was a while ago, but
Yeah.
I picked ballroom. We went to that ballroom dancing studio and had a lesson. It was fun.
I have always wanted to take lessons, and I've just got to take the time to do it. I just started picking up a little bit of pickleball, but
that's Bridget.
I need a teacher. I need a teacher, and I need somebody to play with. So all that being said, we've got to try new things. Not only is it good for your brain, it gets those neurons firing in all different directions and learning something new, right? Learning a new sport, learning how to do something, ballroom dancing, because the reason for that, the reason it staves off that dementia and Alzheimer's, you got to think. I mean, you've got to think, you've got a partner with you. You're not just out there twerking, going crazy on your own. You literally are having to think. Your brain has to fire, and that's key. This is not helping your brain, right? It's not helping ward off Alzheimer's, but something movement will. So you got to eat well, sleep well, move well. And when you move well, you're going to sleep and eat better, and you're going to poop better.
Well, see, here we are at the one that has been the bane of my existence since birth, which is the poop well, number 4 for you. For those of us who suffer from chronic constipation their entire life, what do you suggest? You talk about the fact that people should poop twice a day, which I don't think that has ever happened. But
it happens for me. I'm sorry, Colleen. But
Bridget, we're going to go back into the sleep, Bridget. I sleep well.
Yeah.
But
not everybody has it all. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. If you get a couple, but let's talk about pooping, because you do talk about the fact that people should poop twice a day, and that people who are struggling with moving their bowels on a daily basis, what do you suggest to your patients for that?
Well, do you know the number one, now yours has maybe is a functional something, because you said it's been since you were little, but for most people, the number one reason for constipation is what?
Dehydration.
You're holding water.
Dehydration. Yeah.
Dehydration. I weigh 130 pounds. I need a minimum of 65 ounces of water a day. If you drink coffee, you have to add another 8 ounces per cup, right? If you drink tea, the same thing. If you sweat, then you got to add another 8 ounces. So I mean, I'm already up to at least 80 ounces of water a day that I need just to keep those bowels going and keep you hydrated. Plus, dehydration causes fatigue, migraine headaches, constipation, lots of things. So first thing we do is try to get them drinking enough water and cutting down, on the caffeine, although caffeine also can help you go to the bathroom. A lot of people will go after they have coffee in the morning. Stress will create a lot of constipation as well. Childhood trauma, because think about where this is. This is down in the pelvic region down here. So that's another thing that'll cause it. Not maybe needing a good probiotic, or you chew your food. How about you chew your food? People who actually chew their food poop better, because they're creating those digestive enzymes that start in the mouth, and then they go to the pancreas and the stomach, and enzymes break down food. So if you can't break down your food, you're also not going to poop very well. So we've got to break down the food so that it's, you're able to digest it and assimilate it and actually use the minerals from the food for energy. Magnesium. Magnesium is one of the best things for constipation. Do you take magnesium?
Glycinate.
You bet. So citrate, there's a million forms of magnesium, right? Magnesium oxide, very harsh for constipation. I don't recommend it very often, sometimes, but not much. Magnesium citrate, same thing, constipation. Glycinate, chelate, malate, hands down. That's what we sell in the store. Is the best there is for sleep and headaches and pooping and relaxation, high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, restless legs. Magnesium has over 300 functions in your body. So that's a big one. I would take at least 300 milligrams, maybe 500. 500's not going to hurt you. Check your magnesium levels every now and then and see. Maybe just vitamin C as well. Vitamin C is what's in here today. Vitamin C, the only side effect of vitamin C is diarrhea. So guess what? You could use a little loose stool, right? Right. So then you back
Bridget, you know what I want for my birthday? I want vitamin C.
I'll get you some, girl.
Vitamin C is cheap. All you need is plain old inexpensive ascorbic acid, buffered, preferably. It's less harsh on the stomach. But some vitamin C, a probiotic, a hydration, magnesium, decreasing your stress, well, exercising and all those things, eating a clean diet. But it's key. I mean, we're supposed to poop like that poodle. I got a standard poodle right here beside me. He eats and he goes and poops not very much longer, right? And after that, and he's excited about it when he comes back in, right? So it's really key. It really is. I'm a big fan too of colon hydrotherapy. Have you ever done that?
I have not. No.
Mm-mm.
But a lot of women, I think, are in the same boat I am with the IBS. I mean, I've had IBS I was diagnosed at 35. So that's 20 years ago.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been just my whole life. But again, I think there are things that a lot of women do. It kind of leads us into the fifth secret that you talk about, and that's lowering stress, which is a huge thing, but not so easy to do. What do you suggest for women in our demographic to lower their stress level?
Automate, eliminate, and delegate everything you can out of your life. AED. I stole that acronym from Michael Hyatt, a good friend of mine who is a business coach and all, but I've converted it to the healthcare side of things. AED, boom, is what brings you back to life, right? If you have a cardiac arrest at the gym, they're going to shock the crap out of you and bring your heart back to life. It's the same thing in your life. Automate everything you can. Now, I go to the grocery. I love to go to the grocery. I don't have anybody pick out my bananas and apples and all that mess. I love it because it's like a business trip for me. I see all my patients, in town. and it also keeps me honest, because I'm not putting crap in my cart when I've got Colleen walking up to me, who's not my patient, but
know
and
what
she's
you're
like,
saying, though.
"What are you eating, Dani? What do you got?" Because they all do. So anyway, I don't automate my groceries being delivered. But if you hate it, if you've got 3 or 4 kids at home and you can't stand going to the grocery and your husband's gone all the time, and you got to do it, automate it. Let somebody bring your groceries in. Automate your bills. Automate your lawn care. Everything you can, automate it. Eliminate everything that is not serving you well. And that goes for soul suckers in your life, the people who literally suck the air out of the room the second they walk in. They do nothing but drag you down. They have done nothing to help you with your life. Like, they don't add value. And I know this sounds cruel, but I am telling you, as women, we don't cut those people. We don't remove ourselves from those people very often because we feel guilty. It's the best thing you'll ever do. And if it's family members, set your boundaries. No one says you have to be best friends with your family, because they could be driving you crazy. Like my mother was, and I had to keep my boundaries. And now with Alzheimer's, it's all messed up again. But anyway, you set your boundaries, right? Job, right? If you're in a horrible job, guess what? Find a new job. There's plenty of people out there that are hiring right now. I was in a very stressful situation 10 years ago. Great job, good nurse practitioner. I was busy, but it was killing me. And I knew I had a choice to make. So I stepped out of the boat and opened my own clinic and my own store. And it wasn't easy, but I did it. Now the stress is self-inflicted on me, myself, right? So I don't have anybody to blame. But you got to eliminate everything you can. I mean, and you got to delegate everything you can, right? So as women, we tend to hold on to stuff and then get angry about it because we're doing it all. Well, I'm sorry. We set the tone for the entire home as women. We set the tone. Now, I am the head of the household because I'm not married. It's just me and a poodle here, and my kids are grown. But when I was married, in my taxes, I guess it said Greg was the head and all whatever. But anyway, he may be the head of the household, but I was the moral compass and the tone of the entire home. And the mood that I am in or you are in, when you walk through that door, the entire family picks up on it. And if you haven't set some margin in your life, some sort of breathing room in your life, all it takes is one little thing to go crazy. If you don't, for you to just act ugly. And I did when my kids were little, I acted ugly. I said horrible things. I had no room for margin, no room for error. I was literally pouring from an empty vessel, and there's nothing there. We can't do that. So I really try to help women see you've got to fill your vessel up. You fill your vessel up because you're worthy to have a full vessel and have that oxygen mask on first. I don't know what that looks like for every woman, right? But you got to put your oxygen mask on, and you got to automate, eliminate, and delegate. You've got to build your self-care into your life. You have to have a life that you don't want to escape from. So hard when you're raising little kids and we're on this hamster wheel, right? And you're just, but as we get older, I have seen the value in less is more. Less is more. Less stuff in your house, less chaos in your life, right? If you don't want to have Thanksgiving at your home and it stresses you out to host Thanksgiving, I talk about this in the book, you have the right to send a group family message out to everyone and say, I can't do it this year. It's not good for me. And they freak out. But you guess what? You got 5 months till Thanksgiving right now. Start putting the word out there. So we've got, if you don't think that stress is killing us, all you have to do is look at the suicide rates going up right now. The phone calls to suicide crisis lines went up 800% during the pandemic. 800%. The fastest growing rate of suicide is age 10 to 24. 10 to 24. And then you have older white men also who are killing themselves in record numbers. So we're in a mess, and it's on us to automate, eliminate, and delegate and give those kids responsibilities, man. Now, maybe we're talking older women. So, those kids are grown. This is the perfect time to free yourself of all of the BS that has been weighing you down. This postmenopausal state, man, is phenomenal, in my opinion. Do you not think so?
Oh,
Yes,
God.
absolutely.
I don't think I've ever been happier. I say that all the
Me
time.
either.
Yeah.
Me either. And so stop waiting, though, until you're postmenopausal to be happy. I wish I would have learned that years ago, right? Quit adding things onto your life. Learn what is most important to you and only say yes to the thing. If I didn't want to do this today, if I didn't want to do that panel in October, I would have had zero problem saying, I'm sorry, ladies, I can't do it. My plate is full. In fact, I was invited to go see Tom Jones Monday night at the Ryman. Tom Jones, 8:00 on a Monday night. I live in Franklin at the Ryman. I start work at 6:45 on Tuesdays. I called her yesterday and I said, Annie, I can't do it. I said, it's not healthy for me. I've got to be on my A game Tuesday morning at 6:45 in front of patients. That's the new me. The old me would have gone because, she asked me to go. And then I would have suffered all day Tuesday. Mm-hmm. It's liberating. Menopause is a privilege and an honor and a rite of passage denied by many women, ladies. They never lived this long to get here. So I am telling you, take it, embrace it, and start getting setting some boundaries and getting some margin in your life. You can thank me later.
With that kind of leads me into your last one, which is community. And especially with the pandemics, as we're talking about, that time of life, a lot of people felt isolated. And now you add on for midlife women, a lot of women are getting divorced. Their children are leaving the nest. They're not working as long hours as they used to. And that isolation is hard. Can you talk about how that affects our health?
You bet it does. Well, we know that community is life-giving. The research is clear on this. When you have a tribe or when you have community, right, your cortisol levels go down. Your immune system goes up. You're healthier. You get sick less when you've got a tribe to laugh with. And carry on with and have coffee with and whatever. Community is key. It will extend your lifespan. And post-COVID, right? This was our community right here, Zoom. This is not community, I'm telling you. I mean, I think y'all are fabulous and all, but eyeball to eyeball in person with somebody, right? That's community. On your pickleball court, right? With your people, that's community. In your ballroom dance lessons, that's community. So, I mean, I'm the one in my community who's the cultivator. Somebody has to be the one who cultivates community. It just happens to be me. But again, as we get older, you're right. These women, they go through a divorce. I sit and listen to this all day, every day. In fact, I had a new patient yesterday, 3 children growing up. Husband's is a doctor. She's raised these kids alone. They're getting these kids in 8 years. The last one's going to be gone out of the house. And it is a very lonely season for her, just anticipating. Well, right now she's buying trouble, right? Borrowing trouble. She's anticipating what might happen with the children, but she does not have community. She doesn't have tight friends because she spent 15 years raising kids, right? And her husband's out. And she said, I'm really scared about what's going to happen. I said, well, you got to start now, right? Cultivating these people and, cultivating community, and then also taking breaks though away and having some time by yourself. I talk about Jesus a lot, but I don't, and there's a lot of people who don't believe in Jesus, but Jesus was key with community. He loved community. He had 12 community members around him that were nutcases. They were crazy, right? They did not, they were just, they were like us. They were humans, right? But when he needed a break from his community, what did he do? He went across the river, right? And he spent time by himself. So I think just as important as community is also spending some time with yourself, regenerating and regrouping and just refreshing.
Yes, no, I agree. I mean, it's so funny. When you were talking about that, I was reading that in your book as well. I like the time with myself, but I love time with my friends too. I grew up with 12 siblings. So that was like, it was good. It was good. I'm number 11, but
oh my gosh,
I never knew how much I enjoyed time by myself until I was able to have it. At first, it was actually hard though. Actually for me going to college, it was quieter. For a lot of people, it was, you're having to share a room. I was like, I only have to share a room with one person, when I went to college. So it is different, but the time with yourself and that community is just so important. And Colleen and I both went through that when we both moved here as empty nesters to this neighborhood, new community from another state. Thankfully, our neighborhood provides opportunities like outdoor concerts, things like that, where we were able to meet other people.
It's hard the older you get as well. And people moving into areas like we live in a very fast growing area. And I take my dog to the dog park a lot, and there's a lot of new people there. And I see them a lot in our supplement store, new people. And they tell me that it's very difficult, not just necessarily that it's this area, but it's just that season. If they're our age, it's harder. It
is.
It's harder to let people in. So also I'm challenging all of your listeners that are listening, open that circle up. It's very intimidating for people, whether you're like me and have a very strong personality. A closed circle is a closed circle, and it's hard to get in there. So be conscious of that with new people, really opening that up. It doesn't mean you like them or you have to keep them in but you know what I mean? Just to open that doorway for people and open the circle. Nobody wants to be, there are ornery older women too, just like mean girls in high school. It's the same thing the older you get. So, but sequoia trees, I do talk about this in the book. Sequoia trees have very shallow root systems, but they reach out to each other and they hold on to each other's roots. So it's fascinating. Like they don't have tons of roots, but they hold on to each other. That's all it takes. one or two good buddies. One or two good buddies. You don't have to have a whole group of 12 or 15, but it is life giving to have community. And then you're going to eat better because you're going to have little, you're going to have little get togethers, and maybe you're going to move better. You're going to exercise better. You're going to, I don't know if having community makes you poop better, but I don't know about that.
I'll give it a try, Bridget. Let's expand our friendship.
Let's do that.
Let's
Yes.
try.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be friends with everyone, right? You got to guard
Yes.
your heart. Not everyone is in your inner circle. That's not what I'm talking about. But I am talking about getting out of your comfort zone and getting off the couch. Don't make friends with the couch. The older we get, the more likely we are to want to sit on that indent in that couch every day. And the people who live the longest, who are the happiest, those people in those blue zones who are out there living to 110 and all that, they do not make friends with the couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the TV.
Yeah.
Or the TV. That's right. Or their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to continue this conversation because you are joining us in October for our big
Yay.
event, Conversations with Prime Women. And we are so grateful that you're going to be sharing this expertise with the people who are attending. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate it. It's not rocket science. I'm pretty smart. I am, but I've been a single mom for 20 years, went through nursing school on food stamps and a medical card, had a crappy childhood. I'm going to tell you, I've got more common sense than most people. So as a woman, single mom, entrepreneur, sick, growing up, sick-ish, just turning on one thing after another, I'm living proof you can turn around anything you want. I am living proof that it's not easy, but it is worth it. And it's not rocket science. And if you have a healthcare provider that you see that is not helping you walk that journey, that doesn't understand hormones or doesn't understand gut health or inflammation, then find a new healthcare provider. If you go in there with heartburn or anxiety and all they do is offer you a pill, which is definitely going to have another pill to counteract. There are people who need antidepressants. I'm not saying any of this. I write a lot of prescriptions every day, but it's not a Nexium deficiency going on with you, right? Or a Tums deficiency. You've got to have a healthcare provider who helps you find the root cause of what's going on with you. And if they're not helping you, then find another one, because we're out there.
Yes.
Such great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And we will make sure to have all the information, the link to the book and everything in our show notes. So thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ladies. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.